So last up, we're going to, I made a big noise when I pounded on the desk. Last up, we have our free enterprise saint slash sinner of the week. And today we're going to talk about someone, not a Catholic. So the term saint probably isn't the first thing that would come to mind. Not a bad guy either. Someone who's had a lot to say about modern economics and economic thoughts. Friedrich Hayek, and his most famous book, which was, Jerry?
The Road to Serfdom.
All right, The Road to Serfdom. So what was The Road to Serfdom about? It's his definitive work, I would say.
Most definitely. And by its title, what he's going to explain to you is, if you don't do the things I'm suggesting, it's the road to serfdom. And what is the serf in a feudal society but the guy that didn't fare very well?
A tad prophetic.
Yes. So we're not going to get into details about the Austrian School of Economics, but he was shall I say, I don't know if member is the proper word, but a proponent of the Austrian School, which is a very classical, liberal, free enterprise, free market. I hate that word, but whatever, people understand it. Approach to economics, that the individual has the ability to determine their destiny by virtue of what their ability is to work hard, innovate, and how they are best allowed to flourish is when government gets out of their way. And a very important thing, this is not it's promoting anarchy. It's promoting, in fact, what I would say is the most pertinent point of the book is when he gives the example of the rules of the road, like literally when you're driving, down the road. We want government to give us rules by which we can go wherever we want to go, but so that we don't have mayhem on the streets where one guy's driving on one side of the road and the other guy's coming the other way on the same side of the road and they crash. That we have rules where, in the United States, you drive on the right side and a stop sign is you stop and the guy on your right, if he's there first, he goes before you. All those rules help to keep us from crashing, but we're free to go take whatever route we want to take if we're driving from LA to San Francisco. That government isn't
Wait, why are you in California to begin with? What's
That's not very classical liberal, is it?
Yes.
All right, Phoenix to Flagstaff.
For now, it'll work. We'll see how the election goes.
All right. How about Dallas to Houston?
Now you're talking.
Okay, now I'm talking. So the government's not telling you must go from Dallas to Houston, or you must go to Houston today, and you must use this road. It's saying you can go wherever you want. You just have to follow these rules, and that's where we end up with a productive society. The least amount of regulatory encroachment from government produces the best results.
And you'll notice in those cases that the government, in those examples and those analogies you're using, was not determining the outcome. The participant was determining the outcome. The government was giving rules of the road for the process and the route.
If that's all you take away from The Road to Serfdom, you've got the book. You've got it down. What's remarkable, and this is just a side, we've done a lot of work with interns over the years and from business schools who are taking the economics classes. And it has been nothing short of shocking to me that an economics student has never read Road to Serfdom.
Oh, I majored in economics.
Doesn't have any idea what it is.
No, nothing about the Austrian School of Thought in economics.
Right. It's pretty much all Keynesian and neo-Keynesianism and modern monetary theory and all of that kind of stuff. That's for another podcast, I suppose. But nonetheless, it's when I would talk to young people in our internship program, I would always say, you're not going to hear this from your professors, but read Road to Serfdom. Read George Gilder's Wealth and Poverty and Knowledge and Power. Those are all. And by the way, it's not to suggest that the Austrian School was perfect. It's not to suggest that supply side is perfect. We certainly are not going to say that Keynesianism is perfect. Although there's aspects, Keynes himself was a business person.
That's why he changed his opinions on things.
Well, and many others besides me have said this, before me have said this, that, would probably be rolling in his grave in seeing what has been done to the school of economics that bears his name. It's what we're seeing today is not something he would agree with, but he was much more of a believer that government, action can be beneficial with respect to economic outcome, and an emphasis on economic outcome, which you just referenced a little bit earlier. Government shouldn't be worrying about the economic outcome, just leaving the playing field as level as possible. So hence Friedrich Hayek, and I think clearly a saint in the context of our saints and sinners for free enterprise segment. Definitely, it's an easy reading book. So I mean, if anybody who has the least bit of interest in understanding Austrian economics and understanding how the economics works, reading that book would be very beneficial.
One of the hallmarks of the Austrian School of Thought is that it's not a mathematic-based economic system.
Not at all.
It's based on a priori logic. It's almost philosophical.
It's empowering the individual.
So, and these math to a lot of untrained people might sound, oh, math means better. Math means factual. No, math can be torture. So don't just de facto take the fact that something is math-based makes it true.
And you know more about that than I do, being a math major.
Well, I was going to say, case in point. Math is only as good as the assumptions that go into it. Case in point, COVID predictions.
Yeah.
So, all right. So sorry, we had to get something about COVID in. We do every episode. So this, I'm going to say.
The underlying horror that will be with us for decades.
So hopefully anyone who would have been annoyed by that reference had already stopped listening. All right. So let's get out of here, Jerry. And remember, people can find us at taylorfrigon.com. Also, Instagram is taylorfrigon.invest. And email us at longonly@taylorfrigon.com. Until next week, I should say. I'm Doug.
I'm Jerry.
And thank you again for joining us on the Long Only podcast.